Mail haul day. So, months ago, a bunch of us ordered the Red Lasers Army Tiger Force subset. There's 12 figures. I already know what this is. There's 12 figures in here. We're going to open it, and we'll go through and review each one. Okay. So in the bubble mailer, here's what we have. Nothing else in the bag. So 12 figures in a Ziploc bag here. Not bad on the packaging. Double wrapped inside of a bubble mailer for shipping. Not bad. I hope nothing's broken. I don't think anything will be. I'm going to dump all these out here. Now, unfortunately, when these were originally ordered, all of these figures were set. They all had names, they all had bios, and they were all supposed to come with file cards. But a couple of the figures had to be changed due to some manufacturing issues and whatnot. And we ended up with a couple of different figures in this set than what it was originally supposed to contain. So the file cards are not coming yet, and we are not getting physical copies of the file cards. It was stated in a post that we will be getting digital downloads. I'm going to have physical copies of the file cards made, at least for myself. Once I have the files, I can have them printed up locally or something. I'll figure that out. Also, I am drinking a Hofbrau Original this evening. I received a 6-pack of this as a Christmas present. It's a pretty tasty German beer. So we'll start off here with the first figure. These are based on a Brazilian Tiger Force. I'm not sure if I'm saying this correctly, but Forca Fera. Forca Fera. Forca Fera. First figure that I'm holding here is on what appears to be mostly a Snake Eyes V1. Well, it's a Snake Eyes V1 head. I'm not 100% sure exactly what the torso is. I'm not going to go into the molds used for these figures that much because I'm not 100% clear on exactly what we have. But texture of the figure feels great. He feels pretty high quality. It's not overly tight. I know that getting these things into the customer's hands was a bit of a pain. There were all kinds of issues whenever they came in. They were assembled incorrectly. Just issues with the manufacturing group. Yeah, it's not the maker's fault. So, but this was done by an individual in conjunction with Red Lasers Army. Checking out the joints in the figure, everything's tight. Actually, like posability and everything, this guy's great. Move up on the camera a little bit. You've got no problems with like loose arms or anything like that. One thing that I was informed of in a post was that if you rotate the shoulder, if you're not careful, you'll separate the arm. So I'm going to hold on to it and rotate it around, and I feel the catch. And I think this is with all the figures. No separation. So I'm going to do the same thing here. This one feels really tight. There it is. Broke it loose, and all I did was put even pressure on the front and back halves and then rotate it. No separation in the torso, no separation in the upper arm. Broke loose just fine. Rivets at the elbows look like they're, I mean, they're not real tight, but they're not so loose they flop around. It looks like whenever they riveted these, you know, it's China manufacturing. You're not going to get 100% of the 100% of the top quality that you would expect from like a factory original Hasbro Joes. Let's see if I can stand this guy up here. He stands on his own just fine. His head rotates just fine and stops. Some of the figures, their head will rotate 360 degrees. Paint apps. So I really dig the color schemes on all of these figures. They're bright, they're vibrant. The paint apps on these are very well done. Everything's right on where it should be. Very solid colors, and the colors pop very nicely on this on the plastic. So the group did a really good job with picking out color schemes for this one. Figures came with a gray Uzi. That's the only accessory that this one came with. Moving on to the next, this guy has a figure stand and a bunch of stuff. So, okay, and I think that I know why he came with a figure stand. What is that? All right, I'm not sure what all we've got here. Okay, figure stand with a nice glossy finish. I think the reason for that is that these legs, these lower legs on this figure may require a stand that has a slightly different sized peg. They won't fit a standard peg. But check this guy out. The blue, the yellow, and black. Man, that yellow and black really pops off that blue. And it's such an intense blue as well. Check out the paint app on the guy's face. He has a beard shadow on his face. That is a very cool addition to this figure, I think. It just makes little character personalizations. Again, let's see. This one, okay, the figure that we just looked at, the gray one, is a swivel arm figure. This one is a straight arm figure. I know at least a couple of these were straight arms. Arms rotate at the shoulder just fine. The joints at the elbow are just fine. They're tight. They don't flop around or anything. Nothing loose on this figure. Quality on this guy is great. I'm not a big fan of how these legs and waist fit together. You end up with them like twisting like this sometimes, and it's on all figures that have this this construction. But put him on his figure stand here, and the figure stand fits really well. Check this out. It goes right on all the way down. Perfect fit. Another excellent quality figure from this set. And he came with the small black backpack. We'll attach this and see how it fits. I know some of these figures, the backpacks are small, or I'm sorry, some of these the backpack fits very tight or very loose. One thing I noticed is that the peg on this backpack is pretty large. The hole in this figure's back is large as well to accommodate that. And the backpack is a perfect fit. Check that out. That is a perfect fit. Excellent design in that aspect. Now the backpack is actually, if I can get it off here, the backpack is shaped to fit this open square in the figure's webbing of his chest rig. But it's molded to fit right in there and fit snug. That is a really good fit on this figure. He also comes with a laser rifle, which that should plug in somewhere on the backpack. Yep, right here. There's a hole in the backpack. This little wire here I guess it's supposed to plug in there. And yeah, I'm not gonna bend this around because I don't want to break it. That's made out of some pretty rigid plastic. But you know what? It's broken. It was broken in the package. It's not that short. Check it out. It's supposed to be like this, but it's broken. If plugged into the backpack, it would be long enough to reach around and the figure could hold on to it. Plus, there's an enlarged piece on the end here that fits this socket for the backpack. And man, I'm pretty disappointed that this piece is broken. I'll put it all back in the bag. I'll contact the seller and see about getting a replacement or something. So, not a big deal. I'm sure that someone will take care of it for me. I'm sure that the seller will take care of it for me. And if not, then you know, these guns are something that you can get a hold of. They're produced in the third-party market fairly regularly. So, in my opinion, he doesn't necessarily have to have a black gun. As long as it's the same gun that's supposed to go with the figure, I'll be happy with it. So, even if I have to find one somewhere else. Here's number 2. Let's get this guy open. This one is the same mold as the first figure that we went over. And he comes with a gray rifle. This is the only accessory included with this figure. And I know that the head is a Snake Eyes head. Right off the bat, I noticed the elbows are very tight on this guy, or at least one of them is. And visibly, the rivet seems to be riveted in much tighter than the others. So I'm just gonna, I'm just putting a little bit of pressure right here and making sure that nothing else really moves a whole lot whenever I go to move the elbow. I don't want to break it. So, no tight spots in the shoulder joint. Rotates all the way around just fine. Same with the arm swivel. Overall quality on this guy seems to be really good. Everything is tight. Shoulders go all the way around just fine. No catch in this one really. The left arm has a bit of a catch. You'll see it right there. Yeah, bit of a catch in the left arm. Otherwise, good to go. I'm going to do the same thing with this elbow here. Just kind of break that loose, get him moving, and no cracks, no breaks, no issues. I think this is all a Snake Eyes version 1.5 mold that was used on this guy. But one thing that I dig about these guys is that the face is painted, whereas the Snake Eyes head would have been all black. And this head has been used for several different figures, but you know, painting the facial features really sets it off. Again, we have a vibrant base color for the figure that it was molded in. I like the green, and the yellow pops off nicely, and the blue. The blue is a very nice contrast for this. Okay, here's one utilizing the same head as the previous figure with a different body construction. He comes with a gray rifle, just as the last one did. And it looks like he actually has the exact same head as this figure. So, I mean, are these going to be part of a squad or something of that nature? We'll find out whenever we get the file cards going. First thing that I notice, the arm, the elbow's loose on this guy. This is a swivel arm, and looking at rotating the arms, that's very tight going around, so I'm going to put even pressure on the front and back. This looks like it was riveted a little funky. but we'll work with it. So even pressure on the front and back, twisting all the way around. I felt the catch, and that's over. Nothing on that side. Good to go. The arms are good and tight. I know on some of the figures that I've shown you guys, the shoulders have been loose. Shoulders are not loose at all on this guy. But this little floppy arm, don't really see it posing much of an issue for posability. And what am I saying, posability? I mean, we all know that I'm probably going to end up getting custom cards made at some point to put them on. That would be optimum. That'd be the optimal outcome. So, legs, knees and hips are good and tight. No issues there. Overall, good quality figure. Head rotation does not rotate 360 degrees. So very good there. Okay. Overall, great figure. Again, we have the vibrant paint apps that pop out on the molded plastic, and you know, I really I like these color themes. This figure seems to be a little bit more loosely put together as far as like the shoulders and the parts kit goes, but I mean, like I said, you know, this set was made with the intentions of taking parts and building multiple figures from those parts, with those figures all sharing something in common. Up next, this figure is utilizing the, I believe this is the Hawk head, and we've got that 360 degree rotation. That's a turnoff for me. I don't care for the figures that the head rotates 360 degrees. It's just a personal preference and opinion. Again, O-ring doesn't seem too tight. The figure's torso fits a little funky in this waist, and this combination, I've seen this combination with a few other figures, not in this set, but a few other figures, and it's just a combination that I don't really care for. We have a swivel arm battle grip for this guy. This elbow, I don't know what it's going to do, but that rivet's not all the way in there. Looks like it might have been a little too long, but the arm's tight and it moves as it should. Same for the swivel, so that rivet's purely cosmetic issue. I'm not really concerned about it. Same way with the one on the other arm, cosmetic issue I'm not concerned about. These guys are going to be displayed, not played with. I just don't want them flopping around when I do display them. Knees and hips are tight. This guy is another one that's molded all in green with the yellow paint apps. And this is the first one that I've checked out that's had the Tiger Force logo on his chest. Check that out. That is neat. I like that. It's a throwback to the Euro style. This is all South American themed, and I'll cover more of that in another video whenever I get the file cards. But I don't like the wonkiness of this guy, the flippy whatever's going on with his torso and waist fitment. I don't care for that. May have to do something about that. I don't know what yet, but I'm sure there's probably something I can do about it. Change them out to a looser O-ring maybe, or something like that. We'll figure it out. I'm not displeased with the figure, so please don't take it as that. Up next, we have a figure that's composed of parts that we have already seen. I think, yeah, we've already seen all of these parts. This one just has a different head. As a matter of fact, this one's utilizing all of the same parts as this figure, but with a different head. So I'm taking it that this is one of these guys, just without a mask. Overall construction, no tightness in the shoulder, no catch. Elbows are good. Not floppy, not loose. Same with the swivel. Knees, tight. Good for posability. No issues in the waist and torso fitment. Good parts combination on this guy. The head does not rotate 360 degrees, which is another plus. Check this guy out. And the weapon that he came with is, oh, that's cool. So this is like a, looks like a little bit shorter version of like the submachine gun that Hit and Run came with. Or a version of that gun, maybe. It's slightly different. Cool nonetheless. This package was open when there was nothing else in the bag, so I'm assuming it's all right. This guy is using a rock and roll torso. Same, let's see, is that the same legs? No, these are different legs. So at least different lower legs. We have a loose knee here. It's not bad, but otherwise, I mean, he's good. It's just not super tight in there. That's something fixable. I may put these guys all on stands and put them in an acrylic display case. Elbows, good to go. Arm swivels, good to go. Shoulders, there's a catch. So I'm going to break that loose, even pressure front and back, and I'm just going to turn him. 360 degrees, came out just fine. Other arm turns fine. Head does not swivel 360 degrees. Waist to torso fitment is good. Oh, we got a red O-ring in this guy. That's nice. I always like finding red O-rings for some reason. I think it's just a neat little hidden thing that these guys, that some of these figures have. You know, whenever they're put together. Some of it's intentional. I don't think it's always intentional. The ones where it's not intentional, those are the neat ones. To me, at least. Yeah, he comes with a gray rifle. So let's look at him here again, real quick. That's the rock and roll V1 torso. I'm not sure what head that is. That might actually be a rock and roll head as well. But something different is the brown with the orange tiger pattern. Brown with the orange tiger pattern on the legs. He doesn't have it anywhere else, but he's got that blue torso, and blue and brown are nice contrasting colors. So put him back in the bag and move on to another. We have another brown guy here, utilizing the same legs, the same arms, rotation of the shoulders. There is a catch. I don't want to separate the upper arm, so I'm going to put even pressure on the front and back. And there we go. That broke loose just fine. Same with this one. Elbows, good to go. Swivels, good to go. This is a different head. This looks like a dial tone head, or maybe a stalker head. I'm not sure which head sculpt that is. But rotation, it does not rotate 360 degrees. That's a plus for me. And he also has a red O-ring. Check it out. So it was probably intentional for these guys to have the thicker red O-rings. And they do appear a little bit thicker than the black. Knees, exact same thing I was talking about with that one being loose on the right leg as the last figure. So this one just has a different torso and a different head. And that's what I mentioned earlier, was that these figures were made to create a bunch of different figures using a lower number of parts, and just putting parts together in different combinations. And I think that's a really, really good idea for this. It's gonna, it's bound to cut down cost. It has to. And it makes your troops look like they go together more. They look like they go together more if they have similar uniforms. And that's really what we're looking at here with these body sculpts, is they've got matching uniforms. So you've got different teams that you can really tell go together. So these figures all have that same color blue that we've seen before. This is obviously made with a Cobra trooper or officer head, and we have already seen every other piece of this guy in a different format, different color. Again, going back to using the same assortment of parts in different colors to make different figures and characters. I like the idea of that a lot. So this guy is another straight arm figure. Check him out. He does not have the swivel above his elbow. Elbows are good and tight. And there's that hip and leg combination that I don't care for. That's a personal preference. It's not a negative on the figure or the design. It's just something that I personally am not a fan of, because you end up with hips that do this. He's all messed up in his hips. So knees are fine, all good to go there. The head rotates 360 degrees. But it's tight. It's not gonna like flop around like that, like the General Hawk head does. And that guy's head will just do an exorcist spin for no reason. I mean, it's been laying in the bag, and if you shake him a little bit, his head starts to look back behind him like an owl or some shit. So again, I'm not trashing the figures at all. I think this is a great set. There was a lot of work that went into it. Hey, buddy. My little friend is in here with me. Come here. You want to say hi? Come here. This is my little buddy. He keeps me company and guards the door when I make videos, or when I'm working on t-shirts, or just hanging out back here in this room. He'll sit and guard the door. Yes, he's blind. So, back to the figure. The Tiger Force logo on the chest. That looks to be white. So, like, again, with this figure, great color combinations. That black, the vibrant blue, the yellow with the black stripes. All of this just pops out at you, and I really dig that about this figure set. Did a really good job of picking out these color combinations. Now, the gun this guy came with is different from any of the rest. It is a sniper rifle with a bipod. Put the bipod on the gun, and I mean, it fits well. The gun looks great. Being a straight arm, I'm not sure how he's gonna like really go with that. When I display these, I'll just have their weapons down on the surface of the case instead of in their hands. I'm not going to put their weapons in their hands because I don't want to take a chance on breaking a thumb or bending something or breaking a hand. But yeah, this guy, I'm pretty sure that he's a good guy, but he's got that Cobra Trooper head, and I think that's a neat concept. So, but again, straight arm. I like the straight arms. The straight arm figures are a nice throwback to the original set of figures that came out with G.I. Joe. Yeah, we'll go with this guy. Now, we've seen this head sculpt before. This head sculpt appears to be the same one as this guy, with the torso, arms, and legs that we've already seen. He did not come with a stand, though. There's only one of these figures that came with a stand, and he has the same legs. So I'm not sure why we didn't get a stand with all the rest of the figures that have those legs as well. But I'll inquire about that and see what's going on with it. Loose hips. I don't like this parts combination. Torso's fine. Arms are fine. It's a straight arm figure. That doesn't bother me at all. I like the straight arm figures. Head does not. Rotates 360 degrees. Oh well. It's tight. It's not going to flop around like that stupid hawk head. Knees, good to go. He's going to do the splits for you, because that's what this leg and waist combination does. They just flop around. Hate them. Not the figure design or concept, but this parts combination sucks. I really do wish these guys, the third-party makers, would stop using this parts combination. Waist to torso. And see, this is another... I think that it's literally just this torso. Or not just the torso, but I think that it's just this waist. This waist and legs, really. But this waist just does not fit with anything very well. I've got several figures with this waist and these legs, and they all do this. All of them do it. Now, I've got Black Major and Red Laser figures that have that, and they all do it. So this guy, this figure's got a big gouge in his shoulder here. Let's see if I can get it to focus. But it looks like whenever they were riveting that arm together, that the tooling made a nasty scar there. So, on a stand for you, sir, if you'll hold your position. And he came with the original Rock and Roll's machine gun and bipod, molded in gray plastic. If I get it to snap in. I'm not going to snap it in until I'm ready to display it. But yeah, came with the bipod and the machine gun. Good deal. I have to figure out figure stands for these guys. I think I have a source for those specific figure stands for those guys. Whenever I'll make sure of that source, and then I'll make a video on those stands and their specific application. 2 more figures to go here. These guys also utilize some of the same parts as other figures, and they also share a head. So, yet another setup with this funky hip waist deal. Same body construction as some of the other figures. If you have the Deaco figure, I believe that the Deaco figure uses the entire body that this guy is made from. Head rotates 360 degrees. It's a straight arm figure. Elbows are nice and tight. Man, they're tight. Be careful when you have real tight elbows that you're not just bending it wherever, because you can cause stress fractures, and I would hate to see somebody break their brand new figure they just got. So this guy, maybe I can put him on a stand like this with his leg, out to the side like he's peeing on something. Maybe I can put something down here to make it look like he's peeing on something, or pull that out a little bit more like this. There we go. Yeah, that's perfect. He can just piss on the guy next to him. It'll be great. Overall, color-wise, like the color scheme for this guy being like, the black molded plastic with the vibrant blue and the gray stripes popping out and the gray gloves. Love the color scheme. I love the idea behind this figure. Again, it's just a personal preference that this body construction bothers me. He came with a crossbow, and I'm not exactly sure what this is supposed to be. Maybe satchel charges or grenades of some type. I mean, it's a magazine pouch. It's straight up a magazine pouch, but he does not need magazines for a crossbow. Great looking figure, though. I'll show him one more time. There have been a few other figures that have utilized that head sculpt and the same body. So with this guy, last figure in the set, he came with a different gun. Came with a submachine gun. I haven't received any of the figures that have this gun yet, so that's cool. And he came with a phone. He came with Firefly's phone, molded in gray plastic. The little brick cell phone. This is, I guess it's like it'd be a sat phone now. The little phone is a pretty neat accessory for this guy. So let's check out the construction. He is a swivel arm figure. Plastic feels very good, and we've got that torso to waist issue that I was showing on another figure, where he looks like he's just all bent out of shape, and then he flops back and forth. And it's a noticeable amount of tension that you can feel there with this torso and waist combination, and it's almost like he clicks into place, or it's like the torso doesn't want to go into place correctly. He should be like this, and instead he's all bent out of shape. Maybe a looser O-ring will help fix that issue for me. Elbows, not inherently too tight, not floppy. Nice medium. Swivels work well. So with this one we have a pretty tight shoulder on that side with a click, and moves all right now. Even pressure to the front and back, twisting it all the way around. I felt that one catch a couple times, and it's good to go. Head. This head will rotate 360 degrees, but if you notice, whenever you go to turn it, you're gonna pull that torso apart. And I don't want to do that. I'm not gonna rotate this guy's head 360 degrees for it. But overall, great color scheme. He's got that little touch of blue there to really set things off. The gray, let's see, is that the same legs as this figure? Yes, we have the same legs in the same color with the same waist as this figure. And again, back to using the same pieces to make multiple different figures. This is a great idea to me. Again, it really lets teams be identified as going together. So yeah, here we have him. Another great looking figure with the Tiger Force Tampo on the chest, the black gun, and the gray phone. So there you have it, guys. This figure set is very nice. I love the construction and the ideas behind them. I wish that there would have been a little more consistency with the figure stands being included with all of them that needed it instead of just one figure. I wish that we had gotten the file cards that we were originally supposed to get, but again, the guy who had these made, he stayed in contact with everyone who bought this figure set from the time that it was released. He set up a Facebook page, just a Facebook group, just for all of us who bought this, and he gave us updates on what was going on the entire time. And you know, that's greatly appreciated, because he told us up front, he's like, look, the figures, they're here, they're being assembled, they're being disassembled and then reassembled with what we have, and a couple there were issues with a couple of them. A couple of his original designs, I think that I'd have to go back and look, but I think the original designs were supposed to be swivel arm and ended up being straight arm, and he just had a few issues with it. The file cards, he posted that the artwork has to be redone for a couple of these guys, since they're not the figures that were supposed to be in the set. So when he gets that done, we'll get digital copies instead of physical copies, but I'll have them made for myself or something. You know, the file cards were not an increase in price or anything like that. They were just something he was throwing in. So, you know, he's throwing this in without charging us extra for it. So I have no issues with that at all. I think originally I got in on the first wave of orders, which was like, don't hold me to it. It's been quite a few months since this figure set was purchased, but I think that the figure set was originally priced in the first wave of orders for $125, and then you had increasing price tiers as time went on. Not sure if any of these are going to be available past that. These figures may still be available for anyone that doesn't have a set of them yet. If you want to get a set, get on the well, it's a secret group, so you'll have to find somebody to add you into it. But the Red Lasers Army page, Red Lasers Army group. There's also a summer set. I should be purchasing a summer set from Red Lasers Army here pretty soon, and I'll do the same thing with it. I'll go through, open the package, take them out, and go through each one of them individually. Hope that you guys hit that subscribe button. Check out other videos I have going. There will be more on this set when I have the bio information, the file card information. And we'll go, I don't know if we'll go back through each figure with it or not, but we'll at least go through the file cards and talk about the bios for each one of the figures and figure out which ones go together and what sets, what teams. Because as you can see here, you know, just judging by figure molds and colors, you know, the Forca Fera set, these guys all need to go together in some way. You know what? I think these guys might be bad guys, like invasors. This might very well be an invader team. But anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. Again, subscribe. Check out my other videos. I do videos on G.I. Joe, third-party Joes, and Transformers and third-party Transformers coming up soon. I think I've got one coming. I think I might have gotten one for Christmas. So, anyway, Merry Christmas, guys. Thanks for watching.